Welcome back to the Dean Obeidallah Show. Right now, very happy to have back on for his monthly check-in. It's the Attorney General of the beautiful state of Minnesota, Keith Ellison. Before that, he was elected to Congress in 2006, being the first Muslim American ever elected to the House of Representatives. AG Ellison, nice to see you.
Hey, it's so great to see you, Dean. And you are on the case at a critical time in our nation's history. So keep it up. Thank you.
I'm trying. I see you're writing for Substack. We'll have to do a Substack live at some point, and then we'll play it on
Oh,
the
yeah.
show in the future. We'll do one of those because it's
Let's do it.
fun, because people interact live with you, and then I play it on the show. But let's talk about something that was really dire. And I thought of you
Sure.
when I saw the news, and that it was your friend, Minnesota Speaker Melissa Hortman, and her husband were killed, and another Democratic elected official was wounded and thankfully survived, and his spouse will survive. But you were targeted on that list of people as well. But can you tell us about Melissa Hortman, who was killed? Because I know you were friends with her.
I just want everybody listening to know that she was a lovely person. I mean that not just in a way of being respectful of people who have gone on, but in fact, she was awesome. I'll give you a story to illustrate the point. I met her before I was in politics or she was.
Oh,
She was a legal aid lawyer, and she had a client. I had the same client. I worked at something called the Legal Rights Center, and she was at the Civil Legal Aid Society. So this person had two legal issues they were dealing with. I had one, she had the other. And this client of hers, whose name incidentally was Stormy Harmon, was a African American mother of three, and was being treated horribly by her landlord. Like, one example is not only they were living in squalor, not only were they living in unsafe, unkempt conditions, not only would the landlord not call back or fix anything, but he would say stuff like girls didn't have to pay rent, you know. So he was sexually harassing her,
mhm.
things like that. Melissa sues and gets a $490,000 judgment
Wow.
this is in 97, 98. And the judge did reduce it, but it still was a substantial amount of money, life-changing money for Stormy and Harmon and her children, who are adults now. And Melissa had great compassion. Melissa was outraged by the treatment this woman was experiencing. And Melissa really was a upper middle class white woman lawyer, but that's a stereotype. She was a compassionate human being who cared about everyone, who threw her shoulder into it 100% for this woman and her children who really needed an advocate. And they got one in Melissa. And over time, Melissa and I, we worked on a lot of things. When I got to be Attorney General, she would tell the committee chair who handles my budget, you're gonna work with the AG, right? Yeah, I'll let
Uh,
you be the committee chair. But this is when she was a speaker. As long as
right.
you pledge to work with Keith Ellison's AG's office. And so when she got to be when the trifecta happened, things went well for the AG's office. Glad to say, and it was large part because she understood that a weak AG's office was less of an advocate than it could be for the people of our state. So she not only and I were friends, but she understood the importance of our office. She truly got it, and she was the one who ushered in universal school meals for Minnesota school
Oh,
kids.
wow.
She was the one who ushered in an increase in the child tax credit. She was the one who passed the legislation to say that if you're out of prison, you can vote. So she expanded democracy because it used to be that if you're on probation or parole, you couldn't vote until it was over. She was the one who did all the driver's license for all. She welcomed the stranger. She fed the hungry. She clothed the naked. That's what she did. She was a fine person. And I'm still kind of managing that fact that somebody would want to kill her and did.
Right.
And, um, a lot of friends have expressed, sympathy for Minnesota and all that. But I will just say this: if you've ever, if you've never had a chance to meet somebody who was truly martyred for the good that they were trying to do in the world, Melissa was that. She was targeted because she wanted women to have the right to choose, because she wanted to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, welcome the stranger. That is why she died. and I'll never forget her. And I'm grateful that Biden and Harris came in to the funeral. They didn't
Mhm.
even speak. They didn't even say a word. They just were there, present, and I was very grateful for that. And I'm sure everybody in Minnesota was too.
No, I appreciate you sharing, a personal reflection about her, and it's horrific. This was an assassination. It
Yeah.
was the goal was to assassinate other Democrats
Yep.
and pro-choice activists. Anything more about the motive? We know we get a sense what the motivation is, but it's off the headlines now. It's gone. It's kind of buried. And anything more about what the action, what inspired this guy or motivated him to do these shootings?
Well, he will. Well, if he was clearly hardcore, um, you know, Christian nationalist, right wing. Um, and by saying that, look, I do believe most of the violence done is by that faction. Um, but there's been left wing violence too. We're not here to say that it doesn't exist. It does. Um, but it was political violence. It was to silence her voice. It was saying we're not going to do this through an election. We're not going to do it through a courtroom. We're going to do it with the barrel of a gun. And that is completely unacceptable in our political in our system. And so that's what we know about it. He's on video. Anybody could watch it. Trying to proselytize in Africa.
Yep.
You know,
Mhm.
his friends clearly say he was a Trumpian guy. But again, as I say that, that's a matter of fact. I'm not trying to imply that political violence doesn't come from various directions. It does. Most of it today is from the right, and I think that's also a fact. But it's unacceptable from whatever direction it comes from. And I am deeply, again, I mean, I don't think Trump can disappoint me. Um, my level of expectation is so low for him that he really can't disappoint me. But he did, I believe, hit a new low when he refused to call Governor Walz or the family or anything like that. He did hit a new low because I think common decency as a person. I mean, he has been targeted by the assassin's bullet himself.
Mhm.
How could he not have any compassion? And he says, "Well, I don't like Tim Walz." I'm like, that's hardly the point. The bottom line is, you as the president supposed to convey the condolences of the American people. That's what your job is, and he won't do it.
Yeah. And look, you mentioned President Biden and Vice President Harris attended. It would have
Yeah,
been a powerful message if he would have attended to
if he
say
would.
there's no place for this kind of violence. But he didn't go by design.
Right. He didn't go. He didn't even call. And so it kind of suggests something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
You mean the man who pardoned the January 6th terrorists?
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much, pretty
Yeah.
much that
Got the
right there.
message already.
Yeah. And it says something dangerous about the moment that we're in. It just is another piece of evidence. And I'm gonna tell you, um, his latest move with Epstein, I thought was interesting. You know,
It's interesting because you are, a prosecutor, you have
yeah,
files over there at your offices.
sure,
If you were to go out there and say, I'm going to promise to release these files, and I have thousands of documents, literally thousands, and then you go the day of the release, you announce you're getting zero. But you're all
right,
about transparency because in the memo that Pam Bondi actually wrote, it's all about transparency. We're all about
right.
transparency, and you're getting zero. And the MAGA world is still to this literally today angrier and angrier and angrier. What
Well, I feel their pain. I wish they would get a clue. So here's the thing. There's a missing minute. The tape isn't
in
complete
the video of Jeffrey
in the
Epstein
video
that
of
they
Jeffrey
released?
Epstein.
Right.
That was supposed to have a roommate, he didn't have one. He was supposed to be being monitored, he wasn't. He was taken off suicide watch, he shouldn't have been. I mean, thing after thing. Here's the things we know, but here's what else we know. We know that he was a sex trafficker.
Right.
We know that he was an international sex trafficker. We know this is unrefuted that he had contacts with a lot of powerful people, including Trump, including Alan Dershowitz, and including Prince Andrew, including Bill Clinton, and others. And so we know all these things. So he is we also don't know things that we ought to know. I mean, we know, for example, that a lot of rich, famous financiers, we know when they got this job, when they got this job, when they got this job, we know when we got this job, this job, this job, and we know. What we know about this dude is that he was a teacher at a school, didn't even have a college degree, somehow gets involved with on Wall Street, somehow gets involved with some very rich people, then somehow ends up with a lot of money and ends up with all these contacts and seems to know everybody. Larry Summers, he knew him too, and so but there's this block of, wait a minute, when did you hit your billion, right? What transaction was that? When was that? When was that? What trade was that? What deal was that? How did you get there? It's just sort of like he is he's not qualified much to even be a high school teacher. He gets to be one. Then he's on Wall Street. Then he's sort of this guy who owns islands and homes in all over the world. And so it does feel like he was pimping for the stars, doesn't it? I mean, it feels like that. I mean, and then he's in his jail cell by himself, and he ends up dead. Strange.
It is
broken hyoid bones. Strange. And so I'm not gonna be one that says we know I know he was killed. I'll just say that he did have a lot of things he could tell. And now dead men tell no tales. So I don't know. I mean, I think the MAGA people are right, because here's the other thing. Who are these big dogs that he's hanging with? They're oligopolists. They're people, they're people who have benefited from the shift in our economy from working class people to the very wealthy. He was entertaining people who were and so it makes you feel like an elite pedophile ring. He was running that, and there's evidence of it. And then the whole thing about Alex Acosta and the sweetheart deal that he gets down in Florida, and that's weird, and then they don't even abide by the victims' rights statute in Florida and say we're about to cut this dude a sweetheart deal. All these things kind of just breaking his way, and then he's dead suddenly. It doesn't make sense. I don't know what happened, but maybe, but I would think. And have we mentioned that Trump's best buddy, former best buddy, I guess now, said, "Oh, he's not releasing him because he's all up in there." I don't know if it's true.
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Horrible. Look, Donald Trump has on record been caught lying. He said in 2019 he was never on Epstein's plane, the Lolita Express. And in the Giselle and Maxwell federal prosecution, they introduced the logs. He was on it 7 times, and a pilot testified under oath that Donald Trump was on the plane. And Trump was very memorable. So we know they were very close for a long period of time. The other thing about the suicide, which is interesting, is that about just 2 weeks before the suicide, they found him on the ground with a rope on the floor and his neck burns, Jeffrey Epstein. So he's on suicide watch for only a week after that. Like, why wouldn't you keep the guy? You have a rope and neck burns. The guy was not talking about suicide. He had tried or someone tried to suicide him,
Yeah.
And then they don't watch him. So look, and Alex Acosta, I played the clip on my show in 2019. He's Trump's Secretary for Labor, which is really all this stuff comes together.
Incredible.
And they asked Alex Acosta, as Secretary of Labor, is it true that Jeffrey Epstein had connections to foreign intelligence agencies? And he did not deny it. He goes, well, there's a lot of stuff on the internet. You can't believe everything. And then he goes, He didn't, at no time, I played the answer for everyone listening on the show. At no time did he go, absolutely not, or no. He did the non-denial denial, which is everything but denying it. So there's a lot. There's a lot there. And I don't like that how corporate media, some of the elitists dismissing things as conspiracy. Conspiracy is what's in the file we don't know. What's not a conspiracy, Trump and Epstein are buddy for 2 decades. He's at Mar-a-Lago. He's on the Lolita Express. Other wealthy and powerful people are there. They're having sex with children. Trump lied about being on the plane. And that Pam Bondi said, literally, I have thousands of documents in March on Sean Hannity's show, and now gives us nothing. and says nothing is relevant. You don't have to see anything. None of that's conspiracy. Those are the facts. That's beyond smoke. That's a raging fire of like, there's like a fireworks shack exploding and people going, nothing to see here. Like, there's a lot. This is crazy.
Plenty to see here.
Right.
But okay, so now MAGA, right? Here's the thing. MAGA friends, you believed that Obama was born in Kenya. He wasn't. That was always dumb. It wasn't just a stupid myth. It was dumb. Like, what are you talking about? It was, there were people who knew him as a child. There were documents. He grew up in Hawaii. Everybody knows that. What is this all about? Well, it really had a lot more to do with saying he's a foreigner. He's not one of us. Oh, and by the way, did you notice the skin he's in is a little different,
Right.
And so that was just racism. And Trump milked that cow as much as he could, right? How many other things? I mean, my question for MAGA is, okay, you're mad about this. Good. I'm glad you are. Can you start connecting the dots now?
All right.
And I'm just gonna say this about MAGA. MAGA gets real mad when you call them racist. They don't like that. But MAGA, come on, come on. I'll just say this, and this is a president who said this. His name was Lyndon Baines Johnson. Here's a quote. If you can convince the lowest white man that he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on and he'll empty his pockets for you.
Yep.
I'm telling MAGA, look, we live in America, 400 years of slavery. No, 244 years of slavery, 100 years of Jim Crow. I don't blame you for having the attitudes that your grandparents and great-grandparents had. You clearly do. But is that more important than the grift that is going on in front of your eyes? I mean, that's my question to them. Okay, you were raised this way. That's no excuse, but okay, you were raised this way to think others were less than you. But this guy is working you. He's exploiting your bias to take advantage of you. He's taking your Medicaid. He's playing games with your Social Security. He's giving massive texts to his little buddies who were all assembled behind him at the inauguration. He doesn't care about you, MAGA. If you show up at the Mar-a-Lago, the security guard is going to ask you what you want. And if you don't leave pretty quick, you might end up in cuffs yourself. At the end of the day, he's using you for the grift. It's all about the grift. It's all about the $400 million plane. It's all about the Bitcoin mess. He's got a $1 billion hotel going up in Vietnam. By the way, let me just say this to my friends in MAGA. I'm not even sure he is as hostile toward brown people as you are, because he likes Muslims just fine.
Oh,
if they're rich.
Right. He got money. He does. So I'm talking about the Attorney General Keith Ellison.
Yeah.
So let me shift gears for a second here, although it's related. We haven't spoken since Zoran Mondani got the Democratic nomination here for mayor, which is exciting. But of course, we did see
very exciting
a tsunami of anti-Muslim bigotry
from some Dems too.
I'm sorry?
From some Dems.
Well, we did see some Dems. We saw it from Republicans. We didn't see Trump say anything anti-Muslim, which goes to your point.
Right.
Because now he's getting so much money from the Muslims, he's not going to say anything. He's like, oh, I like these people. So he calls him a communist. He doesn't.
Right. He doesn't go on the anti-Muslim thing.
He doesn't say Islam hates us anymore, or we should get rid of them. It's kind of funny. But so what's your reaction? I mean, I saw Democrats today. I heard a House Democratic leader on today who still has not endorsed Mondani, and she's not from New York, so she doesn't really have an obligation to, but she's all about, we have to focus on affordability. I live in New York City. That's all Zoran talked about. And that's what he won on. Democrats, he's giving you the blueprint. It might not be as liberal in every state or every district, but he's saying to you, you've got to be bold. They can't be like around the edges. We're going to shake the system up and we're going to do it for you. And that's why he won this. No, he wasn't talking about the Middle East. He wasn't talking about anything. He was talking about affordability. I was here.
When the Middle East came up, he said, I'm going to stay in New York.
Yeah, they asked him about what country you're going to visit. first. And Andrew Cuomo's like Israel. And he's like, I'm going to visit New York. That's all I care about. Like, so
So
what do you think, though? What's the lesson for Democrats here in
well,
terms of affordability?
well, let me just tell you, clearly, Zoran Mamdani is absolutely right. Zoran Mamdani and Donald Trump know the same thing, which is that people are very concerned about issues of affordability. Now, of course, he says it, but he doesn't believe it. But
Right.
Mamdani says it and believes it, and Bernie says it and believes it. AOC says it and believes it. But the problem with Bernie and AOC and Zoran Mamdani is that they've been targeted by red baiting. And let me just define red baiting for you. This is the false allegation of being a communist in order to make people, in order to discredit people who are challenging corporate authority. That's what's going on here. And here's the problem with the Democratic Party. And I am a Democrat. I'm proud to be one. I don't have any plans to leave in it, but I speak of this way because I do want to reform it. And I think that the Democratic Party, about a third of the Democratic Party, is in the pocket of the corporate elite, and so the other 2/3 are not. And so, we have the Progressive Caucus, we have others as well. But, I mean, I'm just going to be candid with everybody. And I'm not saying anything bad about anybody's personhood. But look, if Barack Obama would have started out with single payer as opposed to starting out with the Mitt Romney watered down corporate heritage plan that ended up being the Affordable Care Act, we would be in a different space right now. We didn't want to offend big money medicine, so we didn't even take on big pharma at all.
No.
And so we're always doing these half measures, these weak sauce things, and slowly the fortunes of working class people get worse and worse and worse and worse. And so then you get I think in many ways Zoran Mamdani is an unlikely candidate. He's only 33 years old, which is pretty young. He only served a short time in the New York legislature, and yet he wins. Why? He is a world-class debater. He's just very good. And then the other thing is he had a great message. Mm-hmm. So people are going to overlook whatever might be a barrier for them to say, this dude's talking about me getting to work for free, me getting better pay, better wages, cheaper rent. I'm with him. That it's that simple. And Trump knows this. And this is why Trump famously in the 2018 says, I'm the only Republican on this debate stage who's not going to take away your Social Security. Remember that? Well, Trump doesn't care about your Social Security. No. But what he does care, but he knows that you care about your Social Security. So he says stuff that he thinks is going to get him what he wants. And that is what is going on right now. Mamdani is the future. He's the present. He will be the mayor of New York. My advice to Democrats is to put arms around him, to say this young man not only has the right message, but is an incredible messenger, is very smart. And if you want to get young people jacked about the Democratic Party, get Mamdani out there.
Yeah.
Mamdani, he's charismatic. He's sharp. He's media savvy. He's
a very nice guy too. I mean, I know him a little bit here from New York, from the Muslim Democrats and Muslim circles in New York over the years. And I was always impressed with him. When he first announced, I didn't think he had any shot. He texted me to come on the show. I'm like, we're going to wait because I'm like,
right. Well, Dean, what does that tell you?
Then we had him on in the spring, but.
Well, what does that tell you? What a great message and a compelling messenger can do. You might be way out in the back, in the pack. Nobody's giving you any chance to win. But when you got Eric Adams, who is clearly bought off by the Trump administration,
yep.
Ray Charles can see it. I'm going to tell you, when I saw Eric Adams on Fox News and Tom Homan goes, if you don't do what we say, we're going to be up your butt. And he didn't turn around and say, I'm not your pawn. I'm not your marionette puppet. I'm loyal to the people of New York. When he let Homan get away with saying that to him, humiliating him, debasing him, he made it clear he could never be a mayor of a city or he could never be a leader of the people. He's not, he is a puppet on a string, and everybody knows it. Then you got Como, and boy, didn't Mom Donnie make short work of him in a debate. That was brutal. I don't know if people saw it, but he says, I didn't have to quit my job in disgrace. I didn't have all these women incredibly accuse me. I didn't have this. I didn't have that. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. And because I'm not you. And I'm like, wow. Somebody called 911. There was just a murder on the debate stage.
He did it. No, he did a great job, and he wouldn't come on our show, Cuomo. I mean, Zoran did, all the candidates came on. Stringer came on. The list goes on. State senators, Michael Blake, who's a really nice guy. He was
kudos to Brad Landers.
Brad Lander came on, and I like him a great deal. He's great. We line up politically very well, Brad and Zoran.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the Democrats were pretty liberal, to be blunt, except for Trump. But I have to let you go.
Okay.
Listen, there are more topics to talk. We'll talk next.
Hey, one thing. Can I put in one thing? I wrote a Substack article called "When the Law Hides Its Face."
Yeah,
it's in English and Spanish. Please go on my Substack and read it. Also, I plan on being, visible with all of the protests coming up. So we want the people to show up, show out. Remember, us AGs are suing in court, but it is the popular struggle. We can't just win in the court of law. We got to win in the court of public opinion. So please get out there, stand up for democracy.
Definitely. And we had AG William Tong on last week from Connecticut. And we talked
about that guy.
Yeah, he spoke very highly of you as well. All right, AG, nice seeing you.
Okay, you bet.